Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod Science classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 6th November 2021. Actually, yesterday's paper, November 5th, 2021 paper is not released on account of Diwali festival. So, there was no Hindu analysis yesterday. So, now we are going to see current affairs of 6th November 2021. So here in this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So now let us try to see the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first topic is about duty cuts, stock limits, help to curtail edible oil prices. Actually, this article it is not new. Actually, this is continuation of article which we discussed 5 days back. So 5 days back we discussed that yes, there is increasing of price of this edible oil. So because of this, it is becoming very hard for people, especially poor people or below poverty line people, mainly to get proper nutrition. So because of this, here central government mainly said that we need to cut duty and as well as we need to mainly place some stock limits. Okay, such that it will be helps to curtail edible prices, and this is the thing which mainly said in this topic. So this will be important from our economy point of view. Here you need to focus on some important facts regarding this edible oil, from where we are importing, which type of oil, which kind of oil. So that will be important from your prelims. And next topic is about in Kedarnath, our Prime Minister hails India's Rishi tradition. So here we need to talk about Shankaracharya. So this article will be important from our governance which comes in a GS paper 2, and Shankaracharya will be important from our history point of view which comes in the GS paper 1. And next topic is about one important COVID-19 pill. Okay, so it is talking about Pfizer says COVID-19 pill cuts death risk by 90%. So it is mainly talking about COVID-19 pill, that is molnupiravir. Okay, so this article is important from our health which mainly comes in GS paper 2, and about this drug that will be especially important from our science and technology. And next article is about one study which mainly says that due to this stubble burning, so it is having effects on lungs health. So this article will be again important from our health which mainly comes in a GS paper 2. Here you need to understand what is the stubble burning, and one question I want to say here is, so what are the alternatives? Okay, what are the alternatives for this stubble burning? So please think about that and let me know in comment box. Don't forget about this. And next topic is about Zika virus. So 30 more people who got tested positive with the Zika virus in Kanpur. So here in science and technology we will be having one topic like diseases. So in this disease we have communicable and as well as non-communicable diseases. So in that point of view from diseases, so this article will be important. And you can get a prelims based facts regarding this Zika virus. And next one is air quality index. I found one image in that is regarding air quality index in Delhi. So what happened before, one day before Diwali here. So air quality index it is slightly less than compared to the day after Diwali. So here again after this Diwali, air quality index in Delhi which mainly went to severe. Okay, so because of this will be important from our environment and ecology point of view which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. And next topic it is about enriched uranium. So Iran may have 210 kgs of 20% of enriched uranium. So here in this context you need to know about Iran's nuclear deal, that is joint comprehensive plan of action. So this will be important from your prelims and as well as mains. So this topic will be important from our international relations which mainly comes in the GS paper 2. And next topic is about climate law, and this is a very important article I can say in today's newspaper. So this will be important from our environment and ecology. So apart from that, there is one article regarding ministerial conference of WTO. So once it is done, we are going to discuss that. So because of that, if you want, you can refer that article. And also here there is one article regarding this Covaxin. Covaxin got emergency use authorization from WHO, right? So day before yesterday we discussed that article, and that article which came in page number 6. So these are the two articles that you need to refer in today's newspaper. And now let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says duty cuts, stock limits help to curtail edible oil prices. Okay, so it's the thing which mainly said by government. So if you're talking about this infographic which is given, so it is about price chart. So this price chart mainly shows about oil type and as well as so prices, how much price which is reduced in which city. So in Delhi, palm oil decreased by 6 rupees. Okay, and sunflower oil decreased by 10 rupees. But it is also varying from one city to another city. Here Mumbai it is just 1 rupee if regarding palm oil, just 1 rupee regarding sunflower oil. Okay, so in this way here price which is mainly varying from one city to another city. So if I say price in so and so city means it may not applicable to your city, right? So because of this you need to keep one thing in the mind here is, so state also need to cooperate with center. So this article will be important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes under our GS paper 3. And now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that prices of major cooking oils dropped by rupees 5 to 10 per litre. So there is decreasing of oil price, that is 5 to 10 rupees per litre in Delhi. In some cities it is like it is reaching 20 rupees as well. And if you're talking about some important details, it mainly says that giving credit to stabilization of global prices as well as measures such as duty cuts and stock limits. So government mainly came with decreasing of duty, and also government came with imposition of stock limits. That means so and so wholesaler or so and so company that need to maintain only this much amount of stocks. That means so whenever there is a stock limit that is placed means so there will be increasing supply of this oil in the market. So because of supply in the market, that will leads to obviously decreasing of price, right? And not only that, here if you're talking about national average of retail price for this cooking oil, which mainly showed a little change. Okay, so retail price of this cooking oil which mainly showed a little change. And if you're talking about especially mustard oil which is mainly produced domestically, so because of this what happened, import duty that cannot be increased because it is domestically produced. So because of this here there is continuously rising of prices that is seen regarding this mustard oil. And if you see, if you're talking about especially international edible oil prices which mainly remains high. Okay, and if you're talking about some background regarding this edible oil, so what happened last year, majorly 6 edible oil prices have been increased a lot. For example, groundnut oil, mustard oil, vanaspati is nothing but I can say like hydrogenated oil, for example dalda. And next one is soya bean oil, and next one is sunflower oil, palm oil. So for these 6 oils there is 48% of increasing of prices that is seen. So why, what are the reasons? First one here is there is increasing of global prices of oil, and you know that India it is a largest importer, right? So because of this, whenever there is increasing of this global prices, that will also have some impact on India as well. And next one is most of the oil which is mainly excessively buying by China, and because of this there is decreasing the supply in market. And next one is many major oil producers, they are aggressively pursuing biofuel policies. That means if so and so country which is producing oil means they are going for biofuel policies. So because of this what happens, supply from this country will be decreasing in the market. And government is also imposing taxes, duties. So because of all these things there is increasing the price of oil in the market. And if you are talking about India's dependence on edible oil, so India is the world's biggest vegetable oil importer. We are importing large amount of oil from other countries. So how much amount? That is about 60% of edible oil needs that we are getting from outside of our country. So for example, if you are talking about palm oil, so this palm oil which is mainly imported from Indonesia and Malaysia. If you're talking about soya oil, Brazil and Argentina, we are importing from them. And if you're talking about sunflower oil that we commonly use in our homes, so we will be using sunflower oil. So in this sunflower oil which is mainly imported from Russia and as well as Ukraine. So these are the some important facts that you need to remember. And if you see some more facts regarding this edible oils, so if we're talking about primary source of this edible oil, we will get edible oil from, for example, groundnut, sunflower, safflower, niger, and soya bean, rapeseed, etc. And if we're talking about secondary sources, we have palm, okay, oil palm, and as well as coconut oil, especially in the Kerala peoples or Keralites, they really use this coconut oil, right? And this one is rice bran oil, cottonseed oil, etc. So these are secondary oils. So recently this oil palm, it is in news, so you need to focus on why this oil palm is in news and let me know that context regarding that current affairs. And if you are talking about major challenges that we are facing regarding this oilseed production, include the first one is we are mainly growing those oil seeds in largely rain-fed conditions, that is around 70%. So it is not suitable actually. And next one is high cost seed. If you want to get the seed of groundnut and as well as soybean, cost is very high. And recently we bought this groundnut for our fields, so we got at 120 rupees per kg. Okay, 120 or 130, I think so. 120 to 130 rupees per kg groundnut per kg. So it is a very costly. And next one is small holdings and limited resources that we have. And you already know that in India we have majorly small and marginal land holdings. And next one is there is low seed replacement rate and as well as low productivity. So these are some important challenges. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says, in Kedarnath, our Prime Minister hails India's Rishi tradition. So what happened? Our Prime Minister invoked Rishi tradition of India and he may inaugurated several developmental works in this Kedarnath. So what is the motto? Actually, motto here is they are going to have elections soon. That's it. Nothing more than that. And if you are talking about context, it mainly says that our Prime Minister invoked this Rishi tradition. Okay, our Prime Minister came with this Rishi tradition and he may inaugurated several developmental works in Kedarnath and Uttarakhand, etc. So one of the important thing here is unveiling a statue of Adi Shankara. So here you need to know about some facts regarding this Adi Shankara. So in this context, in this Prime Minister's speech, he mainly said that government's work in reviving culture and religious centers, including the construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya and as well as building of a better ropeway that mainly access Hemkund Sahib Gurudwara in Uttarakhand. So they are also coming up with this building of I can say like construction of a better roadway or ropeway. And next one is here they are also focusing on culture and as well as religious centers as well. So if we are talking about some facts regarding Shankaracharya, he was also known as Adi Shankara. So he was born in Kerala in 788 CE and he proposed one important doctrine of Advaita. So if you have completed your art and culture, you will be having many philosophies like Dvaita, Advaita, okay, Dvaita, Dvaita, etc. So in that one Advaita, which is mainly run by this Adi Shankara. Okay. So now let us try to see some major works of this Adi Shankara. So they include Brahma Sutra Bhashya, that is Bhashya or commentary on Brahma Sutra. And next one is he also came with Bhaja Govinda Storaya. And next one is Nirvana Shakuntalam. Okay, Shatakum, okay, Nirvana Shatakam. So these are some important major works of this Adi Shankara. So now let us try to see next topic. It is about Pfizer says COVID-19 pill cut death risk by 90%. It is mainly talking about Molnupiravir. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that already you know that this Pfizer company. So Pfizer company came with an experiment basis of this antiviral pill for COVID-19. And after this study, they mainly found that it is 90% effective for hospitalization as well as death, to decrease this hospitalization as well as to decrease this mortality. So it is about 90% which is of a high efficacy. And if you are talking about some more important facts here, so it mainly says that as drug maker, it mainly joins the race to bring the first easy to use medication against this coronavirus, because whatever the drugs which are present that need to take an IM or IV. So here this pills they can be taken by post orally, that is PO or orally. such that it will be very convenient for people, especially for children who are having a fear of injections. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that competitor Merck's COVID-19 pill is already under review at this FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and they are mainly showing a strong initial results as well. So if we're talking about UK became the first country to approve it. Okay, and if you're talking about some facts, it mainly says that now a new drug company, that is Merck, which mainly came with this pill, and it mainly says that it mainly decreases the risk of hospitalization as well as risk of mortality. So if you're talking about if this got approved, then this will be the first antiviral which mainly found in this effective against coronavirus. Actually, this mainly says that so it is mainly taken post oral. That means 2 or more we can take our tablet, right? So in the same way, what happens? So it is an antiviral drug. So it is found to be very much effective whenever we are taking this drug against this coronavirus. If you are talking about this drug name, that is molnupiravir. So here, how to take this molnupiravir? We need to take 4 pills. Okay, 4 pills twice a day. That is BD. 4 pills twice a day, and within 5 days of showing symptoms, and they can have the reduced chances of hospitalization as well. So this is about this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says double burning significantly affects lung health study. So this article mainly talking about stubble burning. So if you see this image, you can understand what is stubble. Stubble means nothing but whenever the crop harvested, so whatever the waste that is present on land, that is called as stubble. So what happened, instead of removing all those things, so farmers, they will set a fire, that is called as stubble burning. And it is a one important problem that we are seeing in this Punjab and as well as Haryana region. So why? Because so after this kharif crop and next crop, rabi crop, there is a very less short time that is present. So because of this, setting up of fire, it is one of the easy option that mainly chosen by farmers from this Punjab and Haryana region. And this stubble burning, it is also leading to Delhi bad air quality, okay, air pollution in Delhi region as well. So now let us try to see context why it is in news. And context mainly says that pollution from this stubble burning significantly reduced lung function. So lung function had been reduced because of this stubble burning. And this article also says that this stubble burning, it is very much particularly harmful, especially to women in rural areas. In rural areas, especially for women, it is harmful. And not only that, the lung function had been decreased because of this stubble burning. So it is according to a recent study. So if you are talking about details of this study, it mainly says that study mainly conducted in 6 villages in one village of Punjab, and this study conducted in 2 phases. Okay, and study mainly includes 3,600 participants, and they include age group from 10 to 60 years of age. And this study mainly revealed that there is a link between particulate matter pollution and as well as respiratory health. So there is a link between this particulate matter pollution as well as respiratory health. And this study mainly said that because of increase in concentration of PM 2.5, that is having some harmful effects on respiratory health of people, because during the stubble burning, so there is increasing of particulate matter from 100 grams per meter cube to 250 grams. So this increase in level of this PM 2.5, it is 10 to 15 times above than the prescribed limits of WHO, that is World Health Organization. So during this crop residue, which is mainly burnt, that is stubble burning, so 2 to 3 fold increase in of notable respiratory symptoms. For example, wheezing. Wheezing means nothing but there will be some sound that will be coming from your respiratory tract when you're breathing, when you're coughing, etc. Then you will be getting some sound that is called as a wheezing. And not only wheezing, that breathlessness and cough, okay, and even skin rashes, running nose, or itchiness of eyes. So all these are the symptoms that mainly seen during this stubble burning period. And next one is the highest number of respiratory complaints that were reported in population who are between 40 to 60 years of age. and symptoms are mainly seen lowest in younger people. In younger people, symptoms are less. And there was a decline in lung function with increasing of this PM2.5 concentration that is seen across all the groups, not only particular group but also across all the groups. There is increasing of some symptoms that we can see of this lung function decreasing because of this PM2.5. So these are some important things that are mainly given in this topic. And now let us try to see next topic is about Zika virus. The 30 more test positive for this Zika virus in Kanpur. So it is mainly talking about Zika virus. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this will be important from our GS paper 3 under Science and Technology. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that 30 more people they tested positive with this Zika virus. So if you're talking about some important facts regarding this Zika virus, it is a mosquito-borne disease. So how can we prevent this Zika virus? By getting rid of mosquitoes. We need to control population of these mosquitoes to control this Zika virus infection. And next one is, here we need to take some sanitation programs and we need to go for anti-larvae spraying. That means we can see that these mosquitoes mainly lays eggs. After that eggs, they will be converted into larva. So these larva mainly seen in water bodies. So we need to kill this larva. Whenever we are spraying, whenever we are adding like kerosene on this water where we can see this larva of this mosquito is present, there what happened? So this kerosene which will be forming a layer, okay? So because of this, it will be not allow oxygen to dissolve. Right, so because of this insufficient amount of oxygen, so this larvae will die. So in this way we can also go for anti-larvae spray. And one fish will be there, that is Gambusia fish, which mainly feeds on this larva of this mosquito. We can also use these fishes in this water bodies. And these are also some important things that can be done, and especially in pregnant women. So this Zika virus infection will lead to microcephaly. So microcephaly means the baby which is going to be born, they will be having a very little head. Right, so because of this, pregnant women they need to take special attention. And if you're talking about this Zika virus, which is a mosquito-borne flavivirus, and first of all it was identified in Uganda in 1947 in monkeys, and later on it was first time identified in humans in year 1952. So if we're talking about transmission, it is mainly transmitted by mosquito. Mosquito, it is a vector which mainly transmits this disease. So it is mainly transmitted by Aedes mosquito or Aedes aegypti. And it not only transmitting this Zika virus, but also this mosquito will transmit dengue, yellow fever, and as well as chikungunya as well. So Zika virus is also transmitted from mother to fetus during pregnancy. So especially through sexual contact, and as well as transmission of blood, and as well as blood products or blood components and organ transplantation. So in this way, that will be leading to transmission of this Zika virus. And if we're talking about signs and symptoms and treatment, so what will be signs and symptoms? Normally we will be getting fever and we will be getting rashes. Conjunctivitis means inflammation of conjunctiva. And next one is muscle and joint pain, and even malaise. Malaise means muscle pain. And next one is headaches. So these are some common signs and symptoms. And Zika virus infection during pregnancy, that can cause infants to be born with a microcephaly. That means a smaller head than compared to that of normal size. So if we're talking about treatment, there is no vaccine which is available for this Zika virus. Instead, we can focus on relieving the symptoms. For example, we need to take adequate amount of rest. If you're getting fever, you can take acetaminophen, that is paracetamol. And next one is we can go for proper rehydration. That means we need to drink more liquids or fluids. And we can take some painkillers and as well as antipyretics for fever and as well as pain. So this is the treatment for this Zika virus. And if you see this image, you can see air quality is very bad or severe, right? Severe category of air quality index that is seen in Delhi. So what happened here? Diwali came. So on this Diwali, many people they will go for firing of crackers. So actually festival of lights they made into festival of sound actually. So this is my opinion. So what happened? Air quality in Delhi deteriorated to severely bad, okay, severe category with air quality index of 451 at 8 am. So actually before Diwali it was like 382, but after Diwali So it reached to 451. That means almost we can say like around 70 points of bad quality that is mainly seen here. So if we're talking about what is this air quality, what is this National Air Quality Index? So this National Air Quality Index, which mainly launched in year 2014. So it is nothing but one number, one color, one description method, and we are mainly using this National Air Quality Index mainly to judge air quality within the vicinity, that means within this area. So what happened in this air quality index? We are mainly measuring particulate matter. So we have 10, we have 2.5, and we have nitrogen dioxide NO2, and we have sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and as well as we have ozone, that is O3, and ammonia NH3, and as well as lead. So students mainly confuse at this, it is CO but not CO2, it is only CO. So these are the things which are mainly measured in this air quality. These are 8 pollutants. For example, particulate matter 2.5, particulate matter 10, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and as well as lead. So if we're talking about air quality index, which has mainly 6 categories of air quality. First one is good, satisfactory, moderately polluted, very poor, and as well as severe. So now Delhi is under this severe category. So if we're talking about this image, so it is about this color code. Green color means good. So somewhat a light green, that is satisfactory, yellow is moderate, orange is poor, red is very poor, and maroon is severe. So we are having category that is 401 to 500. Here in Delhi it is about 451, right? And now let us move on to next topic. A title says Iran may have 210 kgs of 20% of enriched uranium. So it is mainly talking about enriched uranium. So for what this enriched uranium is used? Already you know that this uranium, it is a radioactive material. So here we can use this uranium for preparation of nuclear bombs. So for preparation of this nuclear bombs, we need enriched, that means a pure uranium. So here Iran have about 210 kgs of 20% enriched uranium. So now we need to understand about what is this enriched uranium and what is this Iran's nuclear deal. So what are the provisions of this Iran's nuclear deal under this regarding this enriched uranium? So you need to remember that. So if we are talking about context, mainly says that Iran's atomic energy said that stockpile of about 20% of enriched uranium, which reached about 210 kgs. Okay, so it is having 210 kgs of 20% enriched uranium. So this is the thing which mainly said by this Iran's atomic energy. So if you're talking about some important details, it mainly says that under the historic 2015 nuclear deal, so this happened between Iran, P5 countries plus one, that is Germany. So under this world's power, so they came up with this Iran's nuclear deal, which mainly allowed Iran to go for enrichment of uranium, that is 3.67%. So this enriched uranium, it is very useful for preparation of nuclear power also. So because of this, they need to go for less enriched uranium, that is about 3.67%. So this nuclear deal, it is also known with another name, that is JCPOA, that is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So here what happen, these countries mainly provide, they will be providing some assistance, or we can say like some releasing of relaxing of sanctions, which are mainly kept on Iran if it is going for this nuclear deal. So what happened, if you are talking about some facts regarding this Iran's nuclear deal, it is also known as JCPOA, that is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. And this JCPOA, it is one of important results of prolonged negotiations from 2013 and 2015, that is between Iran, P5 countries, and as well as European Union. Okay, so you need to remember here. So if you're talking about this JCPOA, so it is a mainly one important thing. So it is a nuclear deal actually between Iran and as well as P5 countries, along with we are also having Germany here, right? P5 plus 1, actually in 2015 European Union also added here. So under this deal, what happened, Tehran, that is Iran mainly agreed mainly to cut or decrease its stores of centrifuge and as well as enriched uranium, and heavy water. So these are the all important components that will be helpful, especially for preparing of nuclear weapons. So mainly to decrease the threat of these nuclear weapons. So here these countries, P5 plus one country along with Iran, they came with this JCPOA. So why we need to talk about this? So what is the importance regarding India that is relevant from our UPSC point of view? So if you're talking about significance of this deal for India, so here they are mainly focused on removing of sanctions. Okay, removing of sanctions which on this Iran, which will be helpful for India because India having number of connectivity projects in Iran. For example, Chabahar port, so that will be affecting. So whenever Iran, which is having sanctions, means that will be affecting India's interest regarding this connectivity projects. So whenever there is removing of sanctions means, so India's interest in this Chabahar port and other plants or regional connectivity, so it will be very much helpful. And this one is, it will be also further helpful, especially to neutralize the Chinese presence in this Gwadar port. Okay, so it will be also helpful to neutralize Chinese presence in Gwadar port because this Gwadar port, it is present in Pakistan. So beside that we have this Chabahar port, which is located in Iran. Right, so in this it will helpful to mainly neutralize Chinese presence, and as well as we can say like Chinese presence, especially in this Gwadar port. And next one is restoration of ties between US and as well as Iran. That will be also helpful for India, especially to procure Iranian oil. Okay, so that will helpful mainly to get cheap Iranian oil to India. That will be helpful in our energy security, and also we can save much forex reserves as well. So this is about this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says right time for India to have its own climate law. That is mainly talking about this climate law. So we are going to discuss that in a very great detail. Actually, this article will be important from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. So if you are talking about context why it is in news, already we know that there is COP26 that is going on, that is Conference of Parties 26 in Glasgow. So because of this, India is also participated, and India also said that it wants to become part of a climate solution. So because of this, now there is a need to come up with this climate law. So now let us try to talk about what are the proposals which are made by India in this COP26. Our Prime Minister announced this Panchamrit solution, that is 5 principles. So these 5 principles which are mainly focusing on fossil fuel dependency, that we need to decrease. We need to decrease this fossil fuel dependency, and we are focusing on carbon intensity. And also our Prime Minister mainly announced that we are going to achieve net zero by 2070, right? And also said that we are going to increase our share in this renewable energy, that is by 50% by 2030. So these are the some important things that you need to remember, and these are some announcements which are made by Government of India. So apart from that, our Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, he also said that we need to get climate finance. So climate finance means here developed countries, they need to provide some assistance for these developing countries, and as well as least developed countries to come up with this climate resilient technologies. So this is a thing which mainly said by our Environment Minister, Forest and Climate Change. So this is the right time. So this is the right time for India to move setting up of a climate law. Okay. So because of this, whenever we need to achieve our targets, we need to come up with a climate law. So this is the thing which mainly discussed here. And if you're talking about this climate law, it should focus on mainly regarding how to achieve what are the announcements that we made in this COP26. So apart from that, why we need this climate law? Because so already we are having different laws regarding Environment Protection Act, and as well as, for example, Air Prevention Control of Pollution Act, and we are having Water Prevention Control Protection Act here. So climate is nothing but only, okay, it is not only air, water, etc. It includes many things. So because of this, whatever the laws which are existing in India, they are adequate mainly to deal with climate change. And this one is, we are also seeing that whenever there is climate or environment violations, so the Environment Protection Act, which is mainly grossly inadequate to deal with the violations here. So because of this, we need a new climate law. So here what happened? So whenever there is any punishment which is done, when any offense which is mainly done under this Environment Protection Act or any other law, so person will be punished under other law but not EPA. That is, for example, Criminal Procedure Code here. So because of this EPA, that is Environment Protection Act, which is made as a subordinate to every other law. So this is one cause of concern. And second one is there is a need to integrate climate action, adaptation, mitigation and monitoring process. So we need to come up with a proper integral climate change action adoption, mitigation, and as well as we need to focus on monitoring of the progress. So the comprehensive climate action is not just technological, but we need also take our nature into consideration. For example, we need to take consideration of a restoration of our ecosystems, and as well as we need to how to reduce these natural hazards like wildfires, landslides, etc. And we need to also focus on how to increase our carbon sinks. For example, forest. That is, we need to go for afforestation as well as restoring of oceans as well. And finally, if you're talking about situation of India, it is a very unique situation, and climate action cannot come by further sharpening the divide, or further we need not to exacerbate, we need not increase this poverty here, right? For example, if you're talking about whenever we need to go for renewable energy, so for example, now we are going for solar panels and as well as wind power, right? So what happened whenever we are going for this type of installations, so that will lead to sometimes critically endangered grasslands and as well as desert birds. For example, great Indian bustard that is seen in Rajasthan, so they may die because of collision that is happening with the wire. So because of this, we need to take a proper decision here before going with any other important law. So next one is, if you're talking about this climate law, we need to come up with this climate law, and this climate law that need to be focused on two important aspects. So first one is, here we need a commission on climate change. So if you're coming up with this commission on climate change, then the power and authority made to issue directions and overall implementation of plans and programs on climate. So what happened whenever we are setting up of a commission, then that commission will have power, that commission will have authority made to take some directions regarding how to implement the plans and as well as what are the plans that need to be implemented, etc. And this one is, commission could have a quasi-judicial powers. So this commission should also have quasi-judicial powers such that they will ensure some directions. And this one is, so this commission should be given support, or that should be assisted by this technical committee. So this technical committee that need to come up and they need to advise commission in the discharge of its functions, and as well as it need to guide various public and as well as private agencies as well. And next one is, we need finally a system of liable and as well as accountable system, and in that way we can achieve our medium and long term goals. Okay, so this is about this topic and I hope it is clear. And next topic is about, first one is ministerial conference. Okay, ministerial conference of 12 in WTO. Once it is done, we are going to discuss that. And don't forget to refer even Covaxin, okay, Covaxin, which got emergency use listing by WHO, article in page number 6, that is an editorial page. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.